Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Living Well, 10-minute tips to a healthier you. I'm Sandra Grenzi, Family and Community Health Sciences Educator for Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Hunterdon County. And our topic for today is portion distortion. What do we need to know about serving sizes? Well, we have a special presentation today by my wonderful intern, Megan. She's a dietetic intern from Cedar Crest College, and she's prepared the topic for today, so I'm going to hand it right over to Megan, and I'll be back at the end to tell you about next week.
Hello everyone, my name is Megan Sarak and I'm a dietetic intern with the Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Hunterdon County. Today we are going to be talking about what a serving size is. So Ms. Grenzi talked last week about what energy balance is. A part of calories in and energy balance is eating appropriate amounts of foods. So it can be hard to determine how much food to eat. It's an important part of that is to understand the terms that are used when talking about food. So today we're going to talk about portion size and serving size. They're often used interchangeably, but they don't mean the same thing. So we're going to talk about the difference between those. A serving size is a standardized amount of food. Usually it's used by the food industry or the government to recommend amounts of food or represent the quantities of food that people typically consume when they eat those foods. So you're going to see this on a nutrition facts label. So here is a nutrition facts label. Hopefully you can see, but the serving size is 2/3 of a cup. And the calories in 2/3 of a cup is 270. So that's the part you want to be paying the most attention to when you're talking about serving sizes in foods. And then we have dried cranberries. So as you can hopefully see, the serving size for dried cranberries is 1/3 of a cup, and the calories in that amount is 140. So just for reference on those two things, this is 1/3 of a cup. So for the granola, you're going to use 2 of these, and for the cranberries, you're going to use 1. So different food groups have different serving sizes defined for them. So when you talk about 1 cup, you're talking about raw leafy greens, dairy, or yogurt. So 1 cup is the serving size for all of those things. When you talk about 1/2 cup, you're talking about cut up vegetables or fruit or cooked rice, pasta, and cereal. So those are the kinds of things that you're talking about when you're talking about 1/2 cup. And then a tablespoon is the serving size for things like peanut butter, oils, or margarine. So it's important to note that the serving size is just a recommendation. It's not permission to eat a certain amount of food. You can eat double, you can eat triple, you can eat half, depending on how hungry you are or what your body needs. A serving size is simply just an industry standard. So now we're going to talk about portion sizes. A portion size is simply the amount of food or drink that you choose to eat. That can be more or less than a standard industry serving size. So the standard serving size on this bag of cranberries, dried cranberries, is 1/3 of a cup. So you can double that and eat 2/3 of a cup, and that would double the serving size, and that would be your portion size. So when you double the serving size, you'll also be consuming double the amount of nutrients that are listed on this nutrition facts label. So what is an appropriate portion size? So you can use my plate as a guide, which tells us that 1/2 of our plate should be fruits and vegetables, 1/4 should be protein, and 1/4 should be grains. That is just a guide, and your portions depend on your own individual calorie needs, what your energy balance goals are, and any health concerns that you may have. So how can you estimate your portion sizes? So we have the measuring cups that I've been showing you, and we're just going to measure out the serving size of the dried cranberries and the granola. So we'll start with the dried cranberries. you can just pour it into the third of a cup. So that is 1/3 a cup. Pour it in the bowl, and that is the serving size of the dried cranberries. So next we'll do the granola. If you can remember, the serving size was 2/3 of a cup, so we'll just do 2 of these. That's 1, and that's 2. And here you can see that's the serving size of the granola. So you can base your portions off of the serving size. It's a good starting point. Now, you don't always have access to measuring cups and spoons, so that may be at a restaurant or a friend's house, but you can use other tools to estimate your portion sizes. So you can use your hand or you can use an everyday object. So I'll give you a couple examples. If you make a fist like this, that is 1 cup. So you can also use a baseball. That's about 1 cup also. And it's the appropriate portion size for raw or cooked vegetables, whole fruits, or fruit juice. Now a small scoop is about 1/2 cup. You can also use a tennis ball to estimate 1/2 cup. That's equivalent to grains such as pasta, rice, or cereal. Now the palm of the hand, this little square right here, or a deck of cards is equal to 3 ounces, and that is the serving size of fish and other meats like poultry or beef. Now the thumb is 1 tablespoon, so that's appropriate for peanut butter, margarine, or some oils. And then finally, the tip of the finger, from the top of the finger to the first joint, or a postage stamp, is 1 teaspoon. So you have to train your eye to know how much your bowls and your cups can hold, and then in the future you can adjust your portion sizes to be what you want based on that. So as an example, if you have a glass and you want to know how much is in it, you can fill it with water like I did here, and you can pour it into a liquid measuring cup. So as you can see on the liquid measuring cup, it's about 16 ounces, a little more than 16 ounces in this glass. So you can use that for the future. Now you know this glass is 16 ounces, and if you want to have 8 ounces, you can do 1/2 the cup. It's important, however, to listen to your body. If you are still hungry, you can eat more. And if you're full on less than a serving, that's okay too. You don't have to keep eating. It's also important to balance your calories with any physical activity you may be doing. So finally, we will talk about some tips to overcome portion distortion when you're eating and make sure that you're eating appropriate portion sizes. So the first tip is read the label. So I showed you the nutrition facts labels on those 2 products. It can help you figure out what the serving size is, and you can work off of that to determine what portion size you need. So another tip is don't eat straight from the package. If you put your food on a plate or a bowl, you'll know how much you're eating. But if you eat straight from the package, it's very easy to eat more than 1 serving or more than you intended. If you portion out your food first, it'll help you be aware of how much you're eating, whether it's 1 serving size or 2 serving sizes, you'll know. The next tip is use measuring cups and spoons or estimate using the other tools that I talked about today. You can also use smaller plates and bowls to trick your brain into feeling more satisfied with smaller portions. So if you dump this into a lot smaller bowl, it would look like a lot bigger portion than it does in this really deep bowl. And the final tip is when you're eating out, you don't have to eat everything that's served to you. You can ask for a takeout container to take half of it home, or you can eat what you normally eat without feeling too full. And it's important that in places like fast food restaurants where it's only 60 cents more for a large, that you don't take the deal, you eat what you normally would eat. So those are just some tips to combat portion distortion, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Megan, for that awesome presentation. on portion sizes, and I hope everyone was able to get at least one helpful tip on how to keep your portions from becoming distorted. So I hope you join me next week. Our topic is going to be mindful eating, and this is an excellent new way of thinking about healthy eating, where we hope to learn to tune in to our inner wisdom. So join me next week. I promise it won't take more than 10 minutes, and I'll see you then.